fertility and age go hand in hand, right? So you have to know that if you are in your 30s, that's your early 30s, fertility is going to gradually start to decline. But once you are above 35, you would now start to notice, like it will become very noticeable. So it's usually advised that if you are 30 to 35, you should try for at least 12 months. Now, what do we mean by trying? People seem to, not understand that before you can say, I have not gotten pregnant with my husband, it's not just trying for 1 year. We usually say that you should have regular, that's in a week, you should have sex not less than 3 to 4 times.
Welcome, dearest viewers, to another fantastic episode where we talk about our health. And this is fully powered by Nature's Field. My name is Omobolanle Valentina Adigun, aka Omobola Val. And today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. I am particularly excited because this is a discussion that should be quite prominent amongst us in the society. I have got two exceptional medical professionals with me in the studio, and these individuals are quite keen when you talk about reproductive endocrinology. Welcome with me to the studio, Dr. Chinenye and Dr. Richard.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Welcome. Dr. Richard, welcome.
So good to see you again.
Same here. Now, today we're talking about fertility, and of course, this particular topic is quite interesting because it cuts across all gender. And of course, we have different questions from people who live in different parts of the world. Just like I said, this is a topic that affects everyone. Now, we're going to be talking about fertility, and my amazing doctors, I'm going to be reading some questions from some people, and I would love you to answer them for us. Thank you so much. So my first question is from Onyinye. She's 34 and she resides in Victoria Island. Her question is, I've been trying to conceive for over a year and my cycles are actually regular. I track them carefully, but nothing has happened. I don't know why. How can I tell if my eggs are healthy? And what does low AMH mean for my fertility? Dr. Neye, please, I would love you to answer this.
Okay, so Onyi, first thing you have to know is that regular cycles are actually a good sign, but they don't automatically guarantee fertility. Now, if your egg health is an issue for you, the truth is that there is no home test for it. But the biggest factor that can play here is your age. Because egg quality declines with age. But when you come to the clinic, the things we look out for are your AMH levels, that's your anti-Mullerian hormone levels. This will help us to assess your ovarian reserve, that is the quantity of eggs that you have left. Also, we'll look out for hormones such as the follicle-stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. We'll also carry out an ultrasound to count the number of follicles that you have. Now, when all these things are done, we can actually now determine your fertility. So if you have low AMH levels, you've been told by your doctor that is low, it doesn't stop you from getting pregnant. All it does is that it tells us that time is of the essence and we have to plan more intentionally.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. The next question is from Tolu. Tolu is 37, a lecturer in Ibadan, and her question is, my cycles have been changing suddenly over the past few months. Sometimes they are short, sometimes longer than usual. Can irregular periods affect my chances of getting pregnant? And is it possible for egg quality to improve naturally? Dr. Neye, I'll still love you to answer this.
Okay. So irregular cycles mean that you're not ovulating consistently, and ovulation is key. Like you have to ovulate consistently to be able to conceive. Now, about your egg health, this is where I'm very, very truthful with my patients. Your age, like I said earlier, is a factor. Now, if you're already elderly, like above 35, fertility is going to be on a lower scale for you. Now, about the quality of your eggs, you can improve it naturally, but you cannot. So, the thing is that we are born with all the eggs that we can actually have, right? So, it's not like if you're going to develop healthy habits, you're going to like develop new eggs. No, all you're doing is just to improve the quality of the one you have. So, things like exercising, having a good diet, reducing your stress levels, all these things will help improve your the quality of your eggs, and it will also, by virtue of that, improve your fertility chances.
Wow, thank you so much. This is quite educative, and I feel like this is key for both genders to learn. So thank you so much for that. I'll read the next question from Chioma. She's 32 and she resides in Enugu. Chioma says, I've been anxious about conceiving. Can stress or anxiety prevent ovulation? And why did my period skip last month? Dr. Nanye, please answer this for us.
Okay, so stress cannot, stop ovulation, but it can throw off the timing. And most times, not most times, the truth is that timing is important for us when it comes to tracking your ovulation, because when you know when you're going to ovulate, you'll be able to time intercourse, which will improve your chances of conceiving. So now stress cannot stop your ovulation, but it can disrupt the timing. Also, about skipped periods, a lot of things can make you skip your period. It can be your hormones, it can be that you're sick, it can be that your body's adjusting to maybe a new diet or adjusting to a new environment. It can be that you are losing or adding weight. All these things can point to the factors that would affect your period. But what you have to also understand is that skipped periods are not necessarily something to bother, but if it happens consistently, that is now when it's an issue. So you have to be very observant to know if this is something that is happening regularly or if it's like once in a while kind of issue.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm particularly excited that you touched base on the fact that stress cannot automatically just, prolong or eradicate your ovulation. Because personally, I've heard doctors say if I probably go to the hospital and maybe make complaints that my period is late or something, you'll probably just say that, have you been stressing? So every time is a thing among we ladies. We say to ourselves, like we prescribe to ourselves that it's probably late, a few months late because, you are stressing. So thank you for touching base on that. My next question is this one that I'll be reading from Ruth. Ruth is 36. She says, I hear so often that age 35 plus makes it much harder to conceive. Is that true? And how long should my husband and I try naturally before seeing a fertility doctor? Dr. Naya, please answer this for us. Thank you.
So like we've been discussing, fertility and age go hand in hand, right? So you have to know that if you are in your 30s, that's your early 30s, fertility is going to gradually start to decline. But once you are above 35, you would now start to notice, like it will become very noticeable. So it's usually advised that if you are 30 to 35, you should try for at least 12 months. Now, what do we mean by trying? People seem to, not understand that before you can say, I have not gotten pregnant with my husband, it's not just trying for 1 year. We usually say that you should have regular, that's in a week, you should have sex not less than 3 to 4 times. It must be unprotected and it must be ejaculatory. Like your husband actually has to ejaculate into you before you can say that you are having regular sex for 12 months and you're not able to conceive. Now, if you are above 35, that time frame is reduced to 6 months. But if you are dealing with things like irregular cycle or PCOS, it's advised that the sooner the better. That's just it.
Wow, thank you so much. Now that we're talking about fertility, I love the fact that in your last statement, you also mentioned if you're dealing with PCOS, one popular factor that is most common with amongst women is PCOS. Even ladies that, because we see the awareness of PCOS going on, we see it online. Some people, just because they have irregular menstrual cycle, they already just say, it seems I have PCOS. So let's talk about PCOS. And we have some questions directed in that area. So we have this question. The person says, Fatima, actually, she's 29. I have PCOS and I don't ovulate consistently. Can PCOS prevent me from getting pregnant? How do I know if I am ovulating? Are lifestyle changes really enough to help? Can supplements improve egg quality naturally? And how long will it take to see results? That's a lot of questions, but if you need me to
Yes, we'd
read
have to.
one after the other,
Exactly. So
I'll be
we'd have
glad
to
to.
break that down.
Okay.
So can I have the first part?
Okay. She says she has PCOS and she does not ovulate consistently. The first question is, can PCOS prevent her from getting pregnant?
Okay. The answer is no. It cannot prevent you from getting pregnant, but it might be a little more difficult because with PCOS, you're not ovulating consistently. And with that, we have to take extra care to time your ovulation. So we can use things like your basal body temperature to measure. There are ovulation predictor kits that you can get from the market. All these things would help us to actually know when you're going to ovulate, and then we can plan around that.
Okay, so thank you for that. Her next question is, how do I know if I am ovulating? I know you mentioned now that, there are some.
So like I said earlier, we can get you a thermometer that you use to measure your basal body temperature. We'll tell you the temperature range to look out for. There are kits that they sell in the market these days that can actually, they're usually easy to use just with your urine and all that. It will tell you when you're ovulating or when your fertile window is close by. Or we can actually do some tests for you when you come to the hospital. That's to check your luteinizing hormone, your follicle stimulating hormone, and we can plan around that.
Okay, thank you. Still on Fatima's question, are lifestyle changes really enough to help?
So they are enough to help, right? But it's not like they're a magical pill or like the solution to everything. So with PCOS, one of the most important thing that you should know that is happening is that your body is finding it hard to resist insulin. That's why with people that have PCOS, you notice that most of them struggle with gaining weight. So with things like monitoring your diet, telling you what to avoid, with regular exercising and avoiding stress, you can actually improve your chances of ovulating.
Okay, still on Fatima's questions. Can supplements improve egg quality naturally? And how long will it take to see results?
Now, on the issue of supplements, think as them as a support system, not as your solution to everything. So, certain ingredients like myoinositol, CoQ10, alpha lipoic acid actually help to improve your hormone balance and support the ovarian environment. Now, formulations like Nature's Field Fertil Support OvaCare Boost combine these in such a way that within 2 to 3 months of consistent usage, women have been reported to have more regular cycles and their ovulation becomes more consistent. So, one thing I have to tell you is that people react differently to things. So, my own timing might not be the same with yours. So, you have to actually be really patient when using supplements.
Thank you so much. You did justice to this. Now let's talk about, because I had mentioned earlier that when you talk about fertility, it does not just affect women or a certain gender. Let's move on to let's move on to male fertility, and Dr. Richard will need your input here. So we have some questions from some men, and I'll read the questions out and just we'll be glad to have your answer. Now this first question is from Ahmed. He's 38 and he resides in Ibadan. His question is, my partner and I have been trying for a year. People say sometimes the man's sperm may not be healthy enough. How do I know if my sperm is healthy? Can low sperm counts cause infertility even if my partner's cycles are regular?
Thank you so much, Bolanle, again.
You're welcome.
Well done to my colleague, Dr. Chinenye. She has really done justice to fertility on the side of the woman. So to Ahmed's question, so can you get the first part of the question?
Okay, so it says, my partner and I have been trying for a year. People say sometimes that the man's sperm may not be healthy enough. How do I know if my sperm is healthy?
Okay, so it's a very good thing, first of all, that he's aware that there's a possibility that the infertility might be as a source of male factor, because it's a huge thing where once there is a case of infertility, they just assume that it is on the woman's end. So as a matter of fact, male causes of infertility make up about 30 to 50% of cases of infertility. So tests that he might want to do to determine if he has infertility, male factor infertility, is a semen analysis. So a semen analysis incorporates morphology of the sperm, which is a general, for lack of better words, the physical structure of the sperm, the motility, how the sperm moves, the number of the sperm in the semen, and then the DNA of the sperm as well. So there are a host of other tests that are also done on the male side. And moving to the second question.
Yes, so I think you've stylishly answered, but it would just be nice to have it more detailed. It says, can low sperm count cause infertility, even if my partner's cycles are regular?
Yes, so definitely low sperm count in this context can cause infertility. So however, it is, I just want to correct a popular notion that frequent ejaculation leads to low sperm count. So frequent ejaculation, maybe when you want to do a semen analysis, it might reduce the amount of semen, the amount of sperm cells for that particular test. But generally, in the context of causing infertility, frequent ejaculation, either from masturbation or having sex, doesn't necessarily lead to male factor infertility.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. This next question is from Chinedu, and he says, can supplements help improve sperm quality and motility naturally? And does stress or lifestyle still affect sperm?
Yes, so definitely. We have a lot of supplements that can actually naturally boost male fertility. So one of them we have is Fertil Support Man, which is offered by Nature's Field. So it contains zinc, selenium, maca, Asian ginseng, and L-carnitine. So all of these things help to naturally boost the male fertility by offering different functions. So the other question I asked is, can lifestyle affect male fertility? So definitely. So things like alcohol, use of illicit drugs, smoking, stress generally can affect male fertility. So it's a thing that you should address from both sides while taking these supplements, while also meeting your specialists to also offer care. You should also look at the lifestyle part of this. All of this work together to help to tackle that issue.
Wow, thank you so much for that. And I just hope that people really heard that part well, that lifestyle affects, your fertility status. So please be very, very careful, what you do. Now, this next question is from Olu. He's 35 and is from Lagos. It says, I drink socially. What does that even mean? But I drink socially and exercise irregularly. Does lifestyle affect sperm quality, and can frequent ejaculation lower fertility? I know you've answered this, but for the sake of Olu, please just probably brief us all over again.
So, hello, Olu. Yeah, so it's, I can see that the one you're focusing mostly on is the drinking aspect. So hopefully what you mean by social drinking is just once in a very blue moon. So, as I said earlier, alcohol affects sperm health, directly affecting male fertility. So alcohol, and you also mentioned exercising as well.
Yes,
So
he exercises irregularly.
So preferably, if you're on the big side, would prefer that you try to shed a bit of weight, try to exercise more regularly, because it has a direct link, not even indirect, a very direct link to male infertility.
Wow. Thank you so much. Now we're moving on to general fertility so that, both genders can learn from it. And we have some questions too. And this one is from Uche. She's 33 from Enugu. And our question is, how long should couples try before worrying about infertility? What fertility tests should we get first? And can fertility issues keep a generation genetically? Dr. Richard, please answer for us. Thank you.
So as my colleague Dr. Chineye said earlier, there are a host of, before you can determine that this case is infertility, you need to meet some parameters. So it needs to be for at least a period of 1 year, but not just the duration. It needs to be constant, regular, 3 to 4 times a week. It has to be unprotected. It has to be vaginal sex, and there needs to be ejaculation. So once all of this happens consistently, as I said, over a period of 1 year, you can then be concerned about infertility. So there are a host of tests that can be done on the male side, on the female side. So from the male side, one of the tests they would want to do is a semen analysis. So that is where they will talk about all of these things I mentioned earlier. The sperm morphology, that's how it looks, how the sperm swims, the DNA integrity, then also the pH as well. So on the female end, we would also want to do a female hormone profile. We would also want to do a male hormone profile for the man as well. For the female, we want to do a hormone profile, the AMH, the estrogen, and a lot of things. Then we would also want to do a pelvic scan. That's an abdominal pelvic scan to make sure there is nothing wrong with the structural organs that are needed to produce these eggs, and from the process of ovulation to fertilization and all of that. Yes. So once all of these tests are done, the results are then evaluated. So, as I said earlier, male factor infertility accounts for 30 to 50% of infertility cases. Female factor infertility also accounts for 30 to 50% of that. And then there is a midline in which both of them there can be both male and female factor infertility. So you can see that it's very important for both the man and the woman to actually be tested to actually determine what the issue might be.
Since this segment is about general fertility, I'm going to share the questions amongst both of you. So, Dr. Naye, I have another question from Ngozi. She's 37 and she resides in Lagos. She says, how do doctors check egg reserve and sperm health? Can fertility change from cycle to cycle?
Okay, at the risk of sounding repetitive, because my colleague has answered most of this, but for ovarian reserve in particular, we do what we call the anti-Mullerian hormone testing, which would check your ovarian reserve. That's to know how many eggs you have left, and also the day 3 follicle stimulating hormone. Also, we will do a pelvic scan to count your follicles and make sure that everything is fine. Now, for the men, we do a semen analysis, which looks out for the count, that's how many sperm cells you have.
Yeah.
It will check the motility, that's the movement, and it will check the shape, because the sperm cells have to have a head and a tail to be able to, the head is for penetrating the egg,
yes.
and then the tail is for swimming.
Motility.
So all these things are the things that we would do to figure out the fertility between the male and the female. Also, fertility can vary from cycle to cycle. That is why, if you listen, I said the day 3 follicle stimulating hormone. Like, there are days we have to actually check. But when we now notice that it's a pattern, that is where we're worried, and then we have to investigate.
Thank you so much. Thank you both. So I have another question for Dr. Naye. Ngozi also asks, I'm worried my egg quality is low because I am 37. I've had one early miscarriage. Can supplements help improve egg quality and prevent miscarriage?
Like I said, like I've always said from the beginning, your age is an important factor for your egg quantity and your egg quality. These are the two things that we, look out for in women. So for the side of supplements, she asked about supplements, right? So what supplements can do for you, like, they're not giving you new set of eggs. They're just helping to reduce, something like the oxidative stress, which would impact the environment where your eggs are produced and stored. So ingredients like CoQ10, vitamin E, and grapeseed extracts, they are very helpful in reducing this oxidative stress, which can impede your egg quantity and quality. So formulations like the Nature's Feel Fertil Support OvaCare Boost have these ingredients, and they are, very effective in boosting your egg quantity and quality. But it's important that you note that these supplements are not guaranteeing you pregnancy. They are not also going to prevent miscarriages, but they are going to help your body. These processes that would lead to this is going to help your body decrease the chances of this happening.
Wow, thank you so much. That was so detailed. This issue of fertility is quite strange. You've talked about how PCOS can affect women, how low sperm count can affect women. But even in movies, we've seen situations, and these things happen in real life. We've seen situations where, doctors certify both parties fit, and they still can't get pregnant or conceive. So we have some questions under this segment. Now, the first question is from Aisha. She's 31 and she's writing from Abuja. Her question is, what is unexplained infertility and how common is it? Could thyroid or hormonal imbalances be a hidden cause? Dr. Nanye, please kindly answer this for us.
Okay, first of all, her question was, what is unexplained infertility and how common it is, right? Okay, so unexplained infertility happens when all the tests come back normal, you're having the regular unprotected sexual intercourse with your husband, and yet pregnancy is yet to happen. So this accounts for 10 to 15% of cases of infertility that we see, right? And the second part of the question,
yes, she also said, could thyroid or hormonal imbalances be a hidden cause?
Okay, there are things that can be there, but we don't expect it to cause such cases. And yes, things like thyroid imbalance, illnesses, hormone imbalance can also impede pregnancy from happening. These things don't show up, the way we expect them to show up, but sometimes they're just there. And that's why we have to carry out extensive tests sometimes to actually find out the root cause of this thing.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's talk about trying naturally and the timing. We have some questions under this too. The first question under this is from Fatima. She's 33 and she says, I ovulate sometimes, but not consistently. Will supplements like Fertil Support Man or OvaCare Boost help me conceive naturally? And how long should I try before seeing a doctor?
Okay, so first things first, inconsistent ovulation is a problem because ovulation is necessary for pregnancy to occur. Now, these supplements are actually very helpful because they help with hormonal balance and they help with egg development. So if you're under 35, it's advised that you try for at least 12 months, that's a year. But if you're 35 and above, once you've tried for 6 months, it is really necessary that you seek medical help as soon as possible.
Thank you so much. Finally, this one is from Cynthia. She's 31 and she wrote, I ovulate but still haven't conceived. My doctor said my cervical mucus might be the issue. Are there supplements to help with that?
Yes, cervical mucus plays an important role in conception because it helps the sperm to survive. It helps the sperm to, move to the egg, and it just helps conception to be easier because if the cervical mucus is thick or it's insufficient, so conception is going to be very difficult. There are supplements designed to help with this. Formulations like the Fertil Support CM from Nature's Field helps to improve the cervical mucus. Now, this supplement contains things like L-arginine, N-acetylcysteine, vitamin C, and beneficial bacteria that helps to improve the cervical mucus, thereby creating a conducive environment for fertilization.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you both. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that the viewers who sent in these questions are well informed now. Now, dearest viewers, as we wrap up, it is important to note from the answers to these questions that for fertility issues, the factors vary. Factors like your gender, your lifestyle, different things can cause fertility issues. And just like our doctors have rightly said, ensure that you go see a doctor so that you can have, the proper prescriptions, the proper tests done. So dearest viewers, this is your cue to get Nature's Field's Fertil Support Man and Woman, Fertil Support CM, and Fertil Support OvaCare Boost. I know that it would have cost us a fortune to get this consultation service. So thank you so much. And thanks to Nature's Field. Till we come your way next time. This is the part where we say goodbye. So stay safe. Goodbye.